Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, it looks like the Carnival Sunrise is still having air conditioning problems on the ship. And unfortunately for some people on the Britannia, the ship that hit the tanker after breaking free of its moorings, well, it did sustain some damage, but not to the main ship, but to one of the lifeboats. And that's causing 321 people to have to be flown home. Apparently the Carnival Sunrise is still having some air conditioning problems. I reported back on July 24th when it was on a Grand Cayman cruise that the air conditioning had broke down and people were just sweating buckets. And when you're in the middle of the ocean in the bright sun and there's no relief inside or in your cabin, it can get extremely claustrophobic. Imagine being like in the middle decks in an inside cabin and no air conditioning. Imagine how hot that could possibly get on the cruise ship with the sun baking down on you for days. Well, they instigated some repairs and they said that the coils that caused the initial breakdown have fully been replaced, but they are still working and almost finished the rest of the air conditioning repairs. Sounds good, but then people coming off the August 7th cruise said, yeah, it's still not fixed. It's still hot in a lot of places on the ship, including restaurants, including cabins. And not only that, now people who just got off the August 12th cruise also said the exact same thing. One person saying that her asthma flared right up because, asthma can be really caused and really dangerous for people who have severe asthma. It really can cause a flare-up. So, no, apparently the company says that it's just about done its repairs. It should be pretty much back to normal, but that's 3 cruises, and maybe now, maybe a 4th cruise is out there, and it's still not quite fixed. So if anybody out there is on the Sunrise, send me an email, let me know, comment down below, because I'd like to know if this is finally fixed for passengers, because it's hard to recommend people to take a cruise if you're just going to be on an inside hot metal box with no air conditioning. Air conditioning is vital in the Caribbean on cruise ships, especially in the summertime. Okay, we also have a follow-up to the story yesterday about the Britannia who ran into the tanker after breaking free of its moorings. But before I get there, let me just quickly invite you to hit that subscribe button with the notification bell on. All it does is tell YouTube is, hey, we might be interested in seeing another video about cruising. It'll just let you know it's not a subscription, it doesn't cost anything, but it really does help the channel out, and you'll be one of the first people to notify there's a new video, which, by the way, I haven't missed a video a day in 3 years. I just had my anniversary of a 3-year term, no missed videos on a day. Pat on the back. And again, I do really appreciate it. Okay, let's follow up. The MS Britannia breaks free of its moorings, runs into a tanker, they get control of the ship. It's a really severe storm. You should see how quickly it popped up. It not only caused havoc at the cruise port, a lot of resorts in the area also had huge, all of a sudden their entire patio around the pool with all the deck chairs were just gone in an instant, just like the wind just like that just took them. So it wasn't only the cruise lines and the cruise port that was caught off guard. Well, apparently the ship did sustain some damage to one of the lifeboats on board, and by maritime law you have to have enough lifeboats for every passenger on board plus 50%. Not just 100%, because if, for instance, you can't get 1 or 2 lifeboats off, you have to have enough other lifeboats to cover the amount of people, including the crew, on board. Well, because that one was damaged and the ship was sold out, they did not meet that maritime requirement. So they started notifying passengers on board that they apologize, but they will have to be flown home. Now, the cruise line is covering the cost of flying people home to either where their cruise left, their destination, or to wherever they started their vacation from. They are getting them home that way. Now, passengers on board were saying that they just assumed that, well, if you're going to take one lifeboat out of service, well, then that'll be the, everybody who would have to go on that lifeboat, those would be the people that they'd fly home. But apparently that's not how they're working it. I think they're spreading it out more on the ship, because if you take them all from one area, that means you're going to have a couple crew members who don't have staterooms to clean anymore, and they're not going to get their gratuities and cleaning and all that. They're not going to get any work. And so I think they're spreading it out so their crew is, still a lighter workload, but everybody still gets something as well. And it's also, you don't want a big empty part of your ship, right? You don't want a whole section empty if you can avoid it. So that's not how it was working. Now, one passenger did say that they were asked to leave, and P&O has offered them a 20% discount on a future cruise. I don't know about that kind of compensation right now. I think at this point, they should be either offered 100% on a future cruise if you're stopping their vacation and you're flying them home because of unforeseen events. Yes, it's unforeseen events, but it has nothing to do with the passenger. It's something that you can't do. You can't fix the lifeboat. You can't, replace it where you are. You have to go back to Southampton to have it replaced and repaired. So I don't know if that is going to be good compensation for people. Now, they haven't said anything about refunding any kind of money or onboard credits or anything for the people who are still remaining on board. Apparently the ship is sailing, the entertainment is going, they're going to be making it their way back to Southampton as scheduled. So it doesn't appear like there's going to be any real inconvenience as far as the sailing is concerned, other than those people who may have sustained minor injuries, not to mention the people who are now being sent home. Sent home early and flown, and who knows, you're flying them back to Southampton. Well, it might be 2 days before their flight, and now what? They're gonna have to pay for a hotel out of their own pocket, and you're offering them 20%? Now, this is just what one passenger has said. So I'm waiting for the cruise line to come out and say what they are offering. The Carnival Cruise Line owns P&O, so we'll see what they say. I'm also not sure how many days were left on the cruise, but either way, I think if a passenger has to be inconvenienced, that their cruise is stopped and you have to fly them home, even if they're only missing 2 out of 10 days, I don't know if 20% does it, because now you're inconveniencing them for hotel stays and changing their air, etc., etc., etc. Not sure 20% cuts it. Let me know in the comments down below. What do you guys think? Do you think 20% on a future cruise? They're not even a refund of 20%. 20% on a future cruise. In other words, you have to give them 80% more money in order to get your 20% more back. I don't think that's the great compensation for the people having to fly home. If everything else is okay on the ship and the entertainment's going and the food's going, I'm happy camper. I don't need any bonuses. But if you're sending me home early and I have any other expenses because of it, that 20% isn't going to cut it with me. I'll leave those comments down below, and I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Till next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.